Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Grantraj Shrimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 11, Chapter 16, entitled The Lord's Opulence. And today's text in chronological order is text number 42. Kindly repeat. Acham yacha mano yacha pranan yacha indriyani cha atmanam atmana yacha na bhuyah kalpase adhvane. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Gaur Premanande. Therefore, control your speaking, subdue the mind, conquer the life air, regulate the senses, and through purified intelligence, bring your rational faculties under control. In this way, you will never again fall onto the path of material existence. Purport. One should see all things as expansions of the Supreme Lord's potency, and thus with speech, mind, and words, one should offer respect to all things, without minimizing any living entity or material object. Since everything belongs to the Lord, everything ultimately should be engaged in the Lord's service with great care. A self-realized devotee tolerates personal insult and does not become envious of any living entity, nor does he see anyone as his enemy. This is practical enlightenment. Although a pure devotee may criticize those who obstruct the Lord's mission, such criticism is never personally motivated, nor is it ever based on enviousness. An advanced devotee of the Lord may chastise his followers or criticize the demoniac, but only to carry out the mission of the Supreme Lord, and never out of personal enmity or enviousness. For one who completely gives up the material concept of life, there is no possibility of entering again onto the path of birth and death. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Vanchakalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Namaha. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayaudirayet. Shrinvanta swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanam Hridiyantasta bhadrani vidunoti suhurutsatam nashtaprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naisthiki. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। आराध्यो भगवान ब्रजेश तनयस तद्धाम वृंदावनम रम्या काचिदुपासना व्रजवधुवर्गेण तया कल्पिता श्रीमद् भागवत पुराणमनम प्रेम पुमर्थो महान श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभुर्मतैदम न यत्राग्रह परः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। So first of all, my humble obeisances to each one of you present here, Prabhupada disciples, senior Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis, and all the listeners. My hundreds and thousands of obeisances to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada and our Gaudiya Acharya Guru Varga. As always, I am always seeking the blessings of all the Vaishnavas so that whatever I speak is pleasing and purifying to all of us, and especially pleasing to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada and our Gaudiya Acharyas. If there's something that you may like out of this, it's all credit goes to His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada and His sincere followers. And if there's some mistakes, it would be my stupidity. I would ask for forgiveness in advance. So I seek your blessings. Hare Krishna. So I will read the translation one more time. Therefore, control your speaking, subdue the mind, conquer the life air, regulate the senses, and through purified intelligence, bring your rational faculties under control. In this way, you will never again fall onto the path of material existence. So, in this chapter so far, very briefly, we had described yesterday also that here is some instructions known as Uddava Geet being imparted by Krishna to Uddava before Krishna departs for his eternal abode in the spiritual sky. And because Uddava is a dear friend, he instructs this. If we also recollect, Arjuna is also a very dear friend. That's why Krishna instructs the Bhagavad Gita. And because Uddava also is a dear friend, Sakha of Krishna, he instructs this Uddava Gita in the Shrimad Bhagavatam. And the Sabam Bonam of the Uddava Gita is that Uddava is asking some wonderful questions about Krishna's opulences, his expansions, his wonderful material opulences, etc. And Krishna describes to him that yes, I had also spoken this to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. And similarly, he describes not only his different features of his different expansions, his Swamshas, his Vibhinnamshas, also his expansion as Super Soul or Paramatma in the hearts of everybody, and about creation. And of course, in material creation, he also describes how he is the opulence and everything that is extraordinary that we can perceive. And the idea of that perception is to see Krishna everywhere. Most of us, we are not able to conquer our senses. We are not Goswamis. Most of us are struggling with our material senses. But Krishna is so kind that although we are struggling with our material senses, He is guiding us through His instructions that think of me always in whatever you see, whatever you do, wherever you are, everywhere you can see my presence, you can feel my presence, even if it is so in the material things or the material opulences. And there are many examples that Krishna gives in the material world, how we can perceive Him. We can perceive Him as Indra, who is the king of the demigods in heaven. We can perceive Him as the great saint Bhrigu amongst the saints. We can perceive Him as the great Vaishnava saint Sri Narad Muni. We can perceive Him like that in many, many ways. We can perceive Him in water, that He is the sweet taste in water. We can perceive Him in the gems as ruby, as Krishna mentions in this chapter. And like that, so on and so forth. We can perceive Him as the purification in the oblations that we offer in the fire sacrifices, as He is present in the ghee. So like that, everywhere we can perceive Krishna. We also discussed yesterday that the most appropriate name of the Supreme Lord, because He is omnipresent, the most appropriate name in Sanskrit is Vishnu. Vishnu means one who is present everywhere. So, as practicing devotees or transcendentalists attempting to become pure transcendentalists, before that, there is a certain stage, a certain way that we can, through our practical life, see the presence of Krishna everywhere. And slowly we can fix our minds and our senses to actually perceive Krishna in His transcendental form. But prior to that, Krishna has given us the guidance as to how we can perceive Him everywhere. And in the Bhagavad Gita, there are several shlokas that describe that for one who sees me everywhere, I am not lost to him. He says that. And I am present everywhere, and the entire creation rests upon me, just like a necklace rests upon my chest. So, perception is very important. That is why Prabhupada called this entire movement Krishna consciousness. It's such a wonderful 2 letters, 2 words, that I have never heard anybody use such wonderful words describing spirituality. Prior to coming to Krishna consciousness, I was always interested in different philosophies. I had come across the Bible, some parts of the Quran, and of course the different philosophies of India, including the Mayavad philosophies and other different paths. But never ever had I ever come across such words that even if they don't use the word Krishna, the Supreme Lord's consciousness, or in other words, Krishna consciousness. Because consciousness is what we are all about. Our soul, we are actually Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means we are eternal, Chit means we are full of consciousness. And what is that consciousness? That consciousness in our original form or in our original constitutional position is nothing but only Krishna. So that Chitta means Krishna consciousness. And thereby we will enter into the spiritual realm and always be full of bliss. And we, by nature, we are Ananda. So that's what this chapter talks about, and the previous verse. Now in today's verse, we are talking about Krishna is telling Uddava, he is instructing. Actually, Uddava wanted to go back because whenever a great devotee leaves, or acharyas leave, or when Krishna leaves, there is so much separation that the devotees also do not want to stay here. We sing this song especially on the separation of our acharyas, so wonderfully compiled by Shri Narottam Das Thakur Ji Anila Prema Dhana, Karuna Prachur, Anna Prabhu Kothagela, Acharya Thakur. Those Acharyas, where are they? Those who gave us Shri Panchatattva ki Jai. Shri Prabhupada Gaudiya Guru Vansh ki Jai. Those Vaishnava Acharyas, Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunath, where are they? Kaha gelo mero moro Gora Nataraj? Where is my Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the expert dancer? Mathane Kutivo Pasha, Anale Pashibo, Gauranga Gunera Nidhi, Kothagele Pabo. I feel like banging my head on a piece of stone. I want to actually stop my existence. I want to actually die. I want to enter into fire and kill myself because I do not find the association of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I do not find the association of Rupa Sanatana, Swarup Damodar, Kaviraj Goswami, all these wonderful acharyas, where are they gone? So this is the feeling that Vaishnavas have in separation. Actually committing suicide is very bad. It is not something that Vaishnavas entertain or teach, but that is expressed. It is an expression of separation. Like Sanatana Goswami, he also wanted to kill himself because he had got into very terrible diseases while through his travels, where his whole body was contaminated with, in the sense that the bodily contamination of pus emanating from his body, oozing, and Mahaprabhu was so kind, and he would recognize him as a pure devotee and hug him. So he would think that what is the use of my body when Mahaprabhu's transcendental body is touching me? My body is useless, I should give it up. So now when the Rath Yatra is going to come very soon under Lord Jagannath's wheel, I'm going to kill myself. I'm just going to drop myself in front of the wheel and have myself crushed. And then Mahaprabhu tells him that, Mahaprabhu understands his intention because Mahaprabhu is Krishna, Krishna is Paramatma. That, hey, you do not have the right, this body belongs to me. This body belongs to me. So I make that decision, you don't make that decision. But anyway, it is an expression that Narottam Das Thakur is expressing, that out of pure separation. So similarly, Uddava is also expressing that I don't want to stay here anymore. But Krishna is saying, no, you must stay here. That is my request to you. That is my wish. Please fulfill my wish. And whatever Krishna wants, his wish prevails. That is the samam bonam, or the life of all Vaishnavas. Anya vilashada shunya jnana karma navritam anukullina Krishna anushrilanam tad bhakti ruttama. That bhakti is considered uttam, or topmost bhakti, is by what satisfies Krishna. One should not have any, zero. Anya vilashita shunya. Anya means all different kinds of desires, including all material desires, and even spiritual desires that are not in line with Krishna's satisfaction. Because a lot of people have spiritual desires for their own self-realization, because I want peace, or I want to become transcendental. It's for my benefit, for my good. So that is a lower kind of consciousness. It is still better than not being Krishna conscious. But initially that stage is there, that feelings are there. But there comes a stage in bhakti where I don't care if even my miseries, or if I cannot do certain things that I like, but whatever Krishna likes. Thakur Bhaktivinoda says in one of his bhajans that Tumara sevai dukha jadi hoy sheito parama sukha. In your service of Krishna, even if I have to go through many, many difficulties or dukkha, miseries, sheito parama sukha. For me, I will consider that as the param, the topmost sukha, the topmost bliss, the topmost happiness. So, anukulina Krishna anushinlanam. Whatever Krishna wants, one should do it for his satisfaction. For example, being in Golok Vrindavan, is a very transcendental, perfect stage. But Krishna wanted Srila Prabhupada to come down here and save the souls. We sing Srila Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra every day. We recite it. Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale means what? He came down, Bhutale, from the spiritual sky, which is Golok Vrindavan, for the sake of delivering souls, because it was Krishna's desire. Prahlad Maharaj was offered Vaikuntha, but he did not take Vaikuntha from Nrsimhadev. He says, no, I would like to assist my Guru Maharaj, Naradji, and save all the souls, assist him in preaching Krishna consciousness. So that is a very high seva. That is Anukulyana Krishna. So Krishna says, leave this wonderful dham of Vrindavan, leave Golok Vrindavan and go out to the streets of Delhi, go out to the streets of Boston, go out to the streets of New York, go out to the streets of San Francisco, go out to the streets of the drug-addicted people on 22nd Avenue, go out to the Haight-Ashbury area in San Francisco, go out to London, go out to different Western countries where people are full of tamogun, full of ignorance, full of passion, and you will face a lot of difficulties in this seva. But Krishna doesn't impose this on all devotees. He knows only those devotees who can do His will are given the special task. And Srila Prabhupada is one of them. Because there are so many sevas, even in our practical life, we find that we have certain services for certain people that we know, but we know that a certain person can do this seva perfectly, and he is perfect in it, and we can depend on that person to do that seva. So we assign that seva, or we depend on that person to do that job. Similarly, Krishna knows who to assign. Not everybody is capable of that great seva. And that is what Anukulena Krishna Anusilanam is. And similar instructions are being given to Uddava, that please stay back, because you have to fulfill my will of preaching this Krishna consciousness. And preaching Krishna consciousness means also following in the footsteps of the great acharyas, following in the footsteps of the Supreme Lord Himself. And what is one of the most important things in preaching Krishna consciousness is, if possible, one should take sannyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he led that by example. He left his beautiful, very young, 16-year-old wife, Vishnupriya Mataji, and he left his old mother, who was without a husband, Sachi Mataji, for a very higher purpose. Takta Sudhuschidam Surapsita Raja Lakshmim Dharmishtaya Arya Vachasa Yad Agada Varanyam Maya Mrigam Daivsitam Anyadhavat Vande Mahapurushyate Charnaravindam. There are so many devotees who are following in that path. Why they are sacrificing their family life, why they are doing that, and they are taking sannyas. Mahaprabhu took sannyas at the age of 24 years, sacrificing his youth, sacrificing his homely life for the benefit of the ignorant people. Because generally, people in general, they do not have so much respect for people who are not in the renounced order of life. Some respect is there. But generally speaking, regardless of any faith that we follow, if we see somebody who is dressed as a father, as a Jesuit, in their robes, or somebody who's dressed like a Maulvi with a beard and has the clothes of a devotee, regardless of what faith, or somebody who is dressed in saffron, whether he's a Mayavadi or a Buddhist or a Vaishnava, they command respect in society. People, when they speak something, people are willing to listen. Somebody may be speaking the same verse, the same message, who is not a sannyasi, who is not in the renounced order of life. It does not have that much effect as much as somebody who is in the renounced order of life. This is the mental perception or the consciousness of most people that is respected, because renunciation is something that not everybody are capable of. And that is why that ashram of sannyas ashram is distinctly separate and is considered the highest in the 4 ashrams. From the brahmacharya to grihastha to vanaprastha, sannyas is considered the highest ashram within those 4 ashrams. So that is the reason why Krishna is asking Uddava, please take sannyas. And I have given you all these instructions. The reasons why I have given you is so that you can save the fallen souls. That is why when we are actually even saying the Jai Dhwani of our Acharyas, what do we normally say? Jayom Vishnupat Paramahansa Parivajagacharya Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtotra Shata Shri Shrimad, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So Parivrajagacharya, one Acharya who is traveling all over the world in the renounced order, preaching the message of Krishna. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavi viriditam kalmashapaham Shravana Mangalam Shrimadatam Bhuvi Grinanti Je Bhuri Da Janaha. In the Gopi Geet, the gopis glorify personalities like Srila Prabhupada. As a matter of fact, if one really carefully analyzes that verse, it is so much befitting Srila Prabhupada, it is as if the gopis have seen Srila Prabhupada come and preach the glories of Krishna. Tava Katha Amritam. The message of Krishna, the pastimes of Krishna, the Katha of Krishna is Amrit. It brings deathlessness. Mrit means death and Amrit means the opposite, deathlessness. So one who preaches this Krishna conscious message to everyone and tells them, now Prabhupada used to harp this every day. My dear son, my dear boy, please try to understand that you are not this body. You are a spirit soul. Every day he used to, hundreds of times, Prabhupada mentioned this, almost every other lecture or every other sentence, so that we understand that we are spirit souls and we are eternal. And going back to eternality, going back to the lotus feet of Krishna, Jiver Swarup Hoy, Krishna Nitya Das. We are eternal servants of Krishna. That is our constitutional position. That is what will give us real happiness. That is Amrit. That is real deathlessness. Tava Katha Amrita, the message of Krishna, Shrimad Bhagavatam, Shri Bhagavad Gita, Krishna consciousness messages are Amrita. Tapta Jivanam, they take away, our life is full of miseries. Samsara Davanam. And like a big forest fire, we don't even know how to extinguish it. We are simply trying so many different methods, but we don't know how we can completely extinguish the forest fire that is there, that is inflicting us the 3 kleshas, Adhyatmik, Adhibhautik and Adidaivic kleshas. The miseries that are inflicted by the self, miseries that are inflicted by the natural catastrophes or the demigods, and the miseries that are inflicted by others. Tapotray. Shrimad Bhagavatam is the Tapotray Unmulanam. In the second verse of Shrimad Bhagavatam, very clearly Vyasadeva is mentioning the Dharma Projita Kaitava Atra Parmo Nirmat Saranam Satam Vedyam Vastavam Atra Shivadam Tapotray Unmulanam. It completely eradicates, it takes away from the root, it uproots the 3-fold miseries. Shrimad Bhagavatam, the message of Krishna. So Tava Katha Amritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriditam. And it is the opinion of great Kavis. Kavis means poets. Poets means Vaishnava poets. Like Lord Brahma, he has compiled so many wonderful stutis, and one of the stutis is Brahma Samhita. So Vyasadeva has addressed him as Adi Kavi, the first Kavi. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye Muhyanti Yat Suraya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Amrusha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. First verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Adi Kavai, Tene Brahma, Brahma Gyan, the spiritual knowledge was given to the first poet, Adi Kavai, the Vaishnava poet. So, Kavi Viriditam, it is the opinion of the great Vaishnava Acharyas, who are all Acharyas of poets. Actually, Prabhupada was also given the name as Kaviraj in the Gaudiya Math. Especially when he wrote those wonderful poems, even in English. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada was so impressed. He wrote this poem, I'm sure you all know. Adore, adore ye all the happy day, sweeter than heaven, brighter than May, when he appeared in Puri, the holy place, my Lord and Master, his divine grace. Beautiful poem. And when he comes to that part in the poem when he says, absolute ascension thou has proved, impersonal calamity thou has moved. He writes about his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, when he read that, he kept on reading that verse again and again, and he showed it to everyone, and he read it out to everyone. And then he instructed his other senior disciples, whatever he writes, please publish. So he was also known as Kaviraj. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was known as Kaviraj. Why was he called? His name is Krishnadas, but he's known as Kaviraj. Ramachandra Thakur, he is known as Kaviraj. In the bhajan that we sing, Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More, Tuma Vina Ke Dayalu Jagat Samsare. In the end, Narottam Das Thakur is saying, Ramachandra Sangha Mange Narottama Das. So he's talking about Ramachandra, his contemporary friend, his Vaishnava friend who had left his body. He actually wrote this bhajan in his separation. And then along with that, he is mentioning all the other acharyas. He's mentioning Mahaprabhu, he's mentioning Nityanand Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, 6 Goswamis. He's mentioning Loknath Goswami, his guru. He's mentioning his contemporary, his Siksha godbrother, Srinivasa Acharya. And at the end, he's mentioning specially Ramachandra Kaviraj. His name was Ramachandra Thakur, but he was also known as Kaviraj. So Kavi Viriditam. It is the opinion of these great Kavis, these Vaishnava poets, that the message of Krishna consciousness, the pastimes of Krishna, they are indeed the solution to remove all miseries in our life, and they will bring us to deathlessness. Kalmashapaham, they take away all our kalmasha, they take away all our miseries. And what do they do? Well, these are all the negative things that they take away. What is the positivity? The positivity is that it will Shravana Mangalam, one who hears these messages of Krishna consciousness, their lives will become auspicious. Shravana Mangalam, Shrimad Atatam. It's amazing, the word Shrimad. Shrimad, like we say, Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. It's a seminar by itself, just on the word Shrimad. So Shrimat means, Shri means Srimati Radharani for us Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Mat means our consciousness, intelligence. So when we as Gaudiya Vaishnavas study scriptures nicely, whenever we practice bhakti nicely, when we follow our acharyas who are none other than the servitors, personal servitors of Srimati Radharani, they are the manjaris in Krishna Leela, in Golok Vrindavan. So it will give us that Srimati, we will follow in their footsteps in serving Srimati Radharani. Srimad Atatam. It will bring us that. And Shri also means goddess of fortune, who is Radharani, who is the source of Srimati Radharani is the source of the goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha. So Srimad Atatam. So in one sense, there are two meanings. Fortune means the fortune of Krishna consciousness will come to us. The great fortune. Not the fortune of dollars and euros, but the fortune of Krishna consciousness. And amongst that fortune, the highest fortune is the service of the divine couple, Radha and Krishna. Bhuvi grinanti je bhuri dajana. That is the most important line in this verse. Bhuvi grinanti. Those who go around the entire creation, around the world, bhuri dajana, those great magnanimous personalities who are going around this world traveling, spreading Krishna consciousness. That is why they are known as Parivajagacharyas. And that is why sannyas is a very important component of Krishna consciousness. That will influence Mahaprabhu. Although he knew everything, he defeated at that time, being Nimai Pandit, he defeated the great scholar who was Sarvabhauma. Sarvabhauma means one who has actually attained scholarship and attained a certificate of scholarship all over the world by defeating so many different scholars. Keshav Kashmiri, he defeated him at a very young age when he was still in the Pathshala or in the Gurukul teaching students. But when he met his Guru Ishwar Puri during the time when he went to do the Pindadan for his father, after his father Sri Jagannath Mishra left his body, he went to do the needful rituals in Gaya. There he met his spiritual master Ishwar Puri Pad, and Ishwar Puri Pad gave him the Mahamantra, and he became ecstatic and he became crazy and he became so mad. When he came back, all he did was dance and cry and chant the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. People in Navadvip started eventually making fun of him. Even those students that he was teaching in the Gurukul as a Sanskrit teacher, as a scholar, they did not respect him. They said, this Nimai Pandit has become mad after coming back from Gaya. And because this Nimai Pandit nobody was giving him too much attention, he said that this is the summum bonum, chanting the holy names of Krishna. He tried to preach that, but nobody really cared. They considered him as a crazy man. So that is the reason he eventually decided early in the morning, he left his house at the age of 24, barely married to a new wife, and an old mother without a husband. Him being the only support, the only young male in the house, he left. Takta Sudastaya Suripsita Raja Lakshmi. This sloka is actually very nice. Actually, I don't have much time to explain each and every detail. But it talks about Lord Ramachandra, and also it talks about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That Lord Ramachandra went to the forest. Yad Agad Aranyam. Aranyam means forest. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also went to the forest. The Suripsita Raja Lakshmi, by giving up Raja Lakshmi, by giving up Lakshmi Priya. And Raja Lakshmi means giving up Raj. Raj means the kingdom. So also Lord Ramachandra giving up his kingdom and giving up his worldly life, he went into the forest. Similarly, this verse applies to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He left his worldly life and went into the forest. He traveled all over India, all over, preaching the message of Krishna consciousness by taking sannyas. And once he took sannyas, as a matter of fact, sannyas was so important to him that he could not possibly find a sannyas who was a Vaishnava. He took sannyas from a Mayavad. He took sannyas from Keshav Bharti, who was an Ek-danda sannyas. Vaishnavas take 3 dandi sannyas, which in this message, Krishna is saying that subdue your mind, your speaking, with the mind, body and words, these 3 things. The Vaishnava sannyas, the 3 dandi sannyas that we have, indicates the 3 components of renunciation of body, mind and speech. These 3 things. That's what the 3 dandas for the Vaishnavas. But at that time, he could not find anybody qualified enough. So he said, at least let me take sannyas. Of course, we cannot do that. But Mahaprabhu had a mission to accomplish. So he took sannyas from Keshav Bharti. And at 24, he left home, preaching this message of Krishna. So then people started hearing him. Even he attracted the attention of the great Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya when he went to Puri. When he was so effulgent, 24-year young man, and in the Jagannath Puri temple, he was dancing in ecstasy and chanting the holy names. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya used to come with his many disciples, scholars, to take darshan every day. And he saw Mahaprabhu dancing. He says, oh, he is such a wonderful sannyasi at a young age. He has taken sannyas. Has he studied Vedanta? He's simply dancing like a crazy man. He's chanting the holy name. And then he tells him, when he faints, he tells his disciples, bring him to my house. Maybe I will instruct him the Vedanta. And he takes him to his house, and like a fatherly figure, grandfatherly figure, he tells Mahaprabhu that you have taken sannyas. Have you studied Vedanta? maybe I should teach you something. And Mahaprabhu very respectfully says, yes, please, teach me. 7 days and 7 nights, he continuously hears this message from Sarva Bhattacharya. So the point being that sannyas is a very important ashram. Prabhupada gave sannyas to young boys, 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old boys. Why did he do that? Prabhupada knew some of them would possibly fail after some time, but he had a perfect mission. He had to preach this Krishna conscious message. He knew he started very late at the age of 70, and he knew that he did not have much time. In the next 10, 12 years, he had to fulfill Mahaprabhu's mission. Prithvi te aaje nagar adi gram, sarvatra hoye mor naam prachar. He knew that he had to fulfill Mahaprabhu's Vani, Gauravani Pracharine. Again, if we come back to Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, he had to, it was the instructions of his Guru Maharaj that preached this message of Krishna consciousness to the English-speaking world. And Prabhupada is so nicely comforted in his comforts, situated in Vrindavan. He's thinking, what am I doing here? So he leaves his comforts. That is Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. Even at the expense of one comfort, we usually dream of going to Vrindavan, retire there, and never think of leaving Vrindavan. Most devotees, it is their dream. But leaving Vrindavan at an advanced age for the sake of fallen souls, for the sake of Guru and Gauranga, is a higher service. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody is cut out for that. And that is a higher seva. Actually, if we want to serve Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada's best service, along with all the other services that he has, they're all good. But distributing his books, his message, and following in his footsteps, making our life perfect, and preaching this Krishna consciousness message. Going back to Golok is a great thing. Nothing wrong. If Krishna wishes, so be it. If Krishna wishes, the words are there. Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada used to constantly say this, and our Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, used to mention his Guru Maharaj, don't try to see Krishna. Perform your service in such a way that Krishna will see you when he is pleased. It is, bottom line is the pleasing Krishna. Anukulyana Krishna Anushilanam. Whatever pleases Krishna, I will do. So if Krishna says that you stay here, assist Prabhupada for lifetimes, yes, my dear Krishna, I'm willing to do that. Srila Prabhupada, please give me the intelligence so that I can stay here in the mood of Prahlad Maharaj, assisting Narad Muni. We don't really have to aspire for Golok. Golok is right here if we are under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada's Charanaravindam. And if we follow the Vani, and if that pleases Krishna, I don't care going to Golok Vrindavan. That is not my goal. That is the higher consciousness. That is the higher. And if Krishna wishes that, okay, you come, I wish to see you, then of course, yes, my dear Krishna, I will come to Golok because it pleases you, my dear Krishna, not for my pleasure. That should be the higher consciousness, and that is our Gaudiya Vaishnava consciousness. None of our acharyas have said that I want to go to Golok Vrindavan. At least I have not heard of that. Or they have asked Narottam Das Thakur or Bhakti Vinod Thakur that give me your darshan Krishna. Perform our services in such a way that whenever Krishna is pleased, then we have to. So taking sannyas is integral, and when taking sannyas, actually speaking, why is Uddhava being asked to take sannyas? Here Krishna is saying, therefore control your speaking. Is Krishna not self-realized enough that he cannot control his speaking? Subdue your mind. Is Uddhava not subdued enough? His mind is not subdued enough? He already had been sent to Vrindavan, and he had already seen the highest, the Gopi Prem. Prema Pumartho Mahan. The way the gopis worshipped, he is already Brihaspati's topmost disciple. He is a big scholar, Uddhava. And although being so scholarly, Krishna understands that because he is so dear to him, let me give him something more beyond scholarship. Something very rare that not everybody gets that Krishna Prem, which Mahaprabhu himself came and he opened the doors to everyone. But at that time, Krishna did not give it to everyone. He only gave it to very few selected personalities like Uddhava. So Mahaprabhu is even more kinder in one sense than Krishna. Uddhava was given Krishna Prem, imparted Krishna Prem by sending him to Vrindavan, by learning what Krishna Prem is, which is beyond the knowledge, beyond jnana. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena santas deva hridaya vilokanti yam shama sundara. That verse in Brahma Samhita. It is by prema, not by scholarship. Vedesha durlabham adurlama atma bhakto govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Not by the scholarship of the Vedas one can know Govinda or Shyam Sundar. No, it is by Vedesha durlabha, adurlabha bhakto. Adurlabha, one that is this Krishna consciousness or Krishna Prem, which is adurlabha. It is not so easily found. It is available by pure devotional service, following in the footsteps of the gopis. Ramya Kachid Upasna Vraja Vadu Vargena Taya Kalpita. Following in the footsteps of the gopis, Vrajavadu. The young maidens or the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, of Vraj. So Uddhava was done this very special favor. Go to Vrindavan. It is not that actually speaking to give his message. Giving his message was kind of external. Sending him to Vrindavan was a special favor for Uddhava. To learn the Krishna Prem, that what is Krishna Prem, what is love. Krishna says that, Uddhava, that I cannot repay the gopis. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I can repay anybody. I can give them all kinds of liberation. I can give them all kinds of awards. I can give them Vaikuntha. I can give them the 4 kinds of Vaishnava Mukti, Sashti. I can give them the opulence that I have. I can give them Samipya. I can give them the liberation of being very close to me in Vaikuntha. I can give them the liberation of Sarupa. I can give them that kind of liberation where they can get my wonderful transcendental features in Vaikuntha. All of the residents of Vaikuntha, they have said that they are all forearmed and they are exactly looking like Lord Narayana. You cannot even tell if the residents are standing and Narayana is standing, which one is Narayana. Except Narayana has a few distinctive symbols, like he has got the lock of hair, Srivasta, and he has got the Kaustubha Mani, and the symbols and the lines on his lotus hands and lotus feet. Other than that, you cannot tell. So Krishna is so kind that he even gives that. Okay, you can even have my form, the kind of form that I have in Vaikuntha. Samipya, Sarshti, Sarupya, and Salokya. You can even live in my own planet. I can give that to many, many devotees. But he says, you, the gopis, the devotees of Vrindavan, I cannot repay you. Not possible. Let your own glories be your payment. Krishna falls at the feet of the gopis. There is no way I can repay you. And that is what he wanted Uddhava to learn, his friend. And Uddhava learned all these things. And he came back and he understood. And very humbly he is still taking instructions from Krishna. Because it was Krishna's desire to preach this message of Krishna consciousness. So then Krishna is saying, conquer the life air and regulate the senses through purified intelligence. So you conquer the life air. Conquer the life air means doing pranayam. Pranayam means regulating your breathing. And regulating your breathing means the life air. We discussed a little bit about life air yesterday. There are 3 things in our body. We have Atma, meaning the soul, Paramatma, the Supreme Lord, and we have the life air. And they all, when the Paramatma and Atma leave, the life air also leaves. There is a certain air that keeps us going, that keeps us alive. The moment the prana, it is called, life air is called, the right exact word is called prana. Generally, air can be translated into from Sanskrit, another word for air is vayu. So, but prana actually is known as life. And prana is also known as the life air. So that is what sustains us. And when that leaves, so he says, control that life air. So is it not that Uddava was not able to do that? No, he was already. And he says that regulate the senses. Is it not that Uddava had already regulated his senses? How is it possible that he had not? But here the message was that when you do these things, I am instructing you to stay back and take sannyas. And when you do all these things, you will be an example for the general public. Yadyat acharati sreshta tattat jana anuvartate. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that whatever great leaders do, the rest, the common public will follow. So, Prabhupada was actually speaking, he did not need to take sannyas. He was in Vrindavan, already on a very high transcendental platform, at the lotus feet of Rupa Goswami, at the lotus feet of Jiva Goswami in Radha Damodar temple. Highly realized personality. But he took sannyas for our sake, so that he crossed the 7 seas. Actually speaking, a sannyasi is not even supposed to cross the 7 seas, according to Vedic instructions. But there was a higher purpose. Prabhupada broke certain rules and regulations of the Vedas. He did not give them as much importance as the service of Krishna, which is sometimes beyond Vedas. Anukulena Krishna Anushinanam. Sannyasi is not supposed to attend weddings. Never. But he personally conducted weddings of his disciples. He broke the rules of the Vedas. But again, for a very higher purpose. So it is what is the higher purpose that regulates even the regulation, if I may put it. Even it regulates the regulations of the personified Vedas. So, Prabhupada, he had to take sannyas for our sake. Prabhupada, when he, for example, as a sannyasi, he would preach exactly how a sannyasi is supposed to behave. Sometimes when he would speak to Matajis, he would ask one of his disciples, please stay back. And that Mataji or his disciple was as old as his granddaughter. But he would set that example that no sannyasi should, or a brahmachari, should speak to a Mataji alone. When his own sister, Pishima in Bengali means auntie. Or to be exact, in English they don't have those delineations. Mother's sister has one different word, or a father's sister has also a different word. But in English it's all one word, whether it is father's sister or mother's sister. They all call aunties. So the sons of Prabhupada, meaning his disciples, they lovingly called her Pishima, meaning auntie, Prabhupada's sister. So even when Prabhupada's sister, who was as probably old as him, maybe a couple years younger, when she entered the room, he would say, sit here, to one of his male disciples. I am a sannyasi. I have to set that example. So that is what is controlling the senses. That is why it's so important to take sannyas. That is why it's so important to control the mind. And all this is possible actually even for us who are non-sannyasis. The example is that besides sannyas, the point being made is controlling the mind, controlling the speech. In the Rupa Goswami's Updeshamrita, the first verse is also very much mentioned here. Actually, I had taken some reference of a similar verse in the Shrimad Bhagavatam, 2nd canto, chapter 1, in verse number 23. But also in the Updeshamrita, he says, Vacho Vegam. Rupa Goswami is saying that one should be able to control the speech, not just sannyasis, everybody. And controlling the speech means what? Talking only Krishna Katha, speaking about Krishna and chanting the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Controlling the speech. Otherwise, Prabhupada says it is simply like a croaking of the frog or the toad. The frogs or the toads all night and all day they keep crick, crick, croak, 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 croak. They make those noise day and night. If you go around the lakes or in the fields, and simply what does that do? It attracts the snakes and it brings their death much more quicker. The snakes hear the sound vibration of the croaking. The sound has a frequency. And actually it is said that the snakes are deaf. But their croaking has that horrible vibration. So similarly, if we don't do anything that is transcendental, the transcendental vibration is reading Krishna Kathas, hearing Krishna Katha, speaking Krishna, chanting Krishna's name is transcendental sound vibration. But if we hear nonsense sound vibration, which is known as the crow's literature, the newspapers, the televisions, the novels, the bestsellers that you find at the airports, at Barnes and Nobles, and so many other big bookshops that are $1 million bestsellers. They're all $1 million crow literature sellers. The literature of the crows. The crows, they gather around garbage. And the hansas, the swans, they gather around something that is sublime, something that is pure. So we have to learn to become paramhansas. So that is why we control the speech by chanting the holy names of the Lord, by the transcendental sound vibration, not like frogs and croaks. Then we control vacho, manasa, control the mind. The instruction is the same here, controlling the mind. How do we control the mind? In this age of Kali Yuga, it is impossible to sit in meditation. In Satya Yuga, Dhyatam Vishnu, that was the process of attaining the Siddhi or the perfection by meditating on Vishnu. At that time, the lifespan was about 100,000 years. Devotees used to live, people used to live over 100. Vishwamitra Muni meditated for 60,000 years. In spite of that, his meditation was broken by the Apsara Menka. She came and simply by tingling her bangles and her ankle bells, he was disturbed. 60,000 years of meditation, gone. And then he got attracted to that heavenly maiden, Menka. But some of them, of course, did find perfection by meditation. Dhyatam Vishnu. Tretayam Makhai. In the next Yuga, Treta, it was fire sacrifices. Vasudeva Para Yoga, Vasudeva Para Kriya, Vasudeva Para Makhaha. By spiritual fire sacrifices. But it's not possible. Those yajnas used to go on for thousands of days, hundreds of days, probably years. Some perfect brahmanas, they chanted the holy names, the Vedic hymns, and actually demigods used to come out of the fire and accept their offering. Where do we find such brahmanas? Where do you find the ingredients? Where do you find the money to buy those ingredients to do a yajna that will go on for 100 days or 1,000 days, a few years? Not possible. That purity is not there. Dwapare Parichariyanam. In Dwapar Yuga, the process changed. And hundreds and thousands of temples were built all over Bharatvarsha, where there was temple worship was predominant. People used to, even the common man used to go to the temple 6-7 hours a day. 3 hours, 3.5 hours in the morning, wake up at 3-4, come for Mangalarti and use their services, give their services at the temple, make flower gardens, clean the temple, attend the Arti Darshan, hear Hari Katha from the Acharya, Kirtan, Bhajan, then go to work, and in the evening, same process repeated. Another 3 hours in the evening, 6-7 hours every day. Is it possible? Hardly people come to the temple even once a week. What to talk about every day for 6 hours? Hardly. That is why Prabhupada said all these churches are empty. They should give it to us. They are simply, I went to recently on my trip on my way to India, probably my second, third time, I was passing through Cologne in Germany. They have this beautiful old church in Cologne, but empty. Only tourists come. Nobody is sitting there and praying. Just coming and taking pictures because it is old and it is beautiful architecture. So the churches are practically empty. And unfortunately, even the temples are empty these days. Even in India, the land of religion, people are going out for parties. Nobody has time. The same person who had the culture of going to the church or to the temple every morning. I remember my neighbors when we were brought up, every morning going to the church. I remember my grandparents going to the temple every morning. My uncle going to the temple every morning. But now nobody has the time. There's a nice bhajan by Thakur Bhakti Vinod in Sharanagati. I think maybe we can take that up during our seminar that's coming up in the week. Bhuliya tumhare samsare ashiya pe nana vidavyata. Bhulinu tumhare hari. I don't have the time. So many things, I am busy with things. No time for you, Hari. So what will happen to this jiva in Kali Yuga? So then, kalotad hari kirtana. So controlling the mind can be done by chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada said, chant minimum 16 good rounds. Good rounds. He has laid stress on good rounds. Some of us simply are waiting, finish 16 rounds. We had taken a vow during initiation, so I am finished because I have taken a vow. No, that is not our goal. It is not a race. I'm talking about myself. Sometimes that happens to me. Maybe not all of you here. 16 good rounds, Prabhupada said. So these good rounds are very important. And once we do those, then we will see there's a big difference in our personal lives. We will see that our mind is controlled. Vacho vegam, manasa vegam, krodha vegam, anger, etc. will be subsided. It will completely vanish. As per the Updeshamrita, jiva vegam, the tongue. How do we control the tongue? Tongue is considered one of the most strongest senses. And the tongue can be controlled again by chanting the holy names. Sevan mukhai jiva ado. You serve, you do the devotional activities in bhakti by jiva ado. Ado means first by the tongue, by chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jiva ado. Ado means first. Chanting. And another function of the tongue is only take prasadam. Because if we take anything besides prasadam, what will happen? Every day we recite these prayers compiled by Thakur Bhakti Vinod. Bhai, oh my dear brother, Sharira Vidyajal. This whole, our entire body, Sharir, is avidyajal, is a network of material senses, of ignorance. Avidya. Vidya means spiritual science. Avidya means knee science. Ignorance. Sharir avidyajal. Jada indriya tahekal. Jada means our gross, all these senses. Jada indriya. Tahekal. It brings to us death again and again. We are born, we are lucky to get a human body, but we enjoy like animals, eating, sleeping, mating and defending, and simply satisfying the senses. Then it will bring us tahekal, it will bring us death again. And tar madhye jiva ati lobo maya sudurmati. And amongst all these senses, tar madhye, amongst the middle of these senses, jiva, the tongue, ati, the most, lobo maya sudurmati. It brings about, it is the most voracious of all. To control the tongue is almost impossible. Jive fere vishay sagore. It is through the tongue, again and again, because of our nonsense that we do, we fall into this ocean of poison, which is the material world. But Krishna bodo dayamoy kori bare jiva joy. Swa prasadanda dilo bhai. Krishna is very kind. It is not that Krishna wants your plate of prasadam that you are keeping there. Actually, as neophytes, Krishna is very kind. Krishna bodo dayamoy. Kori bare jiva joy. He breaks our tongue victorious. How? Swa prasad anna dilo bhai. By giving the remnants of his prasadam, of his food. Krishna is Atmaram. He is not hungry for your food. Angani yasya sakalan indriya vrittimanti pashyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya rasa. Sometimes some people argue, oh, you put the full plate, everything is as is. Where is the question of Krishna touching it? I have not seen it. Have you seen it? So Shastra very clearly explains, Angani yasya sakalan, even all the different parts of his body is, he can talk through his nose, he can see through his mouth, he can eat through his ears, he can eat through his eyes. Angani yasya sakalan. We sing that every day in the Darshanarti, in the Brahma Samhita. Any of his body parts can function like anything, so he simply glances at the plate of bhoga that you put him with a tulsi leaf. He must glance because you have put a tulsi leaf. And once he glances, it will become prasadam. And who knows, he maybe takes, if it is with a lot of love, maybe he takes 1 grain, we don't notice it. And he leaves the rest for us so that we can korivare jiva joy, so that our tongue can become victorious. And if the tongue can become victorious, all our senses can become victorious. That is why in Updesh Amrita, the very first of all the senses is mentioned is Vacho Vegam, the speech. If we can control that, we can control everything. There's a little funny thing that one time there was a fight between the tongue and the teeth. So the teeth is saying, my dear tongue, you be careful. Don't say bad things about me or I will crush you. My teeth will crush you. So you be careful of me. You should fear me. Okay, show me some respect. So the tongue says, my dear teeth, please remember, if I say something, all 32 will fall out. All 32 of you will fall out. They will be broken. You got it? Supposing the teeth is very strong, it can crush the tongue, yes. But the tongue is much more stronger than the teeth. If the tongue says something bad to somebody, he will, and all the teeth will be gone. So, the point is, Dar madhya jivati lobhamai sudurmati. It's takejita kathina samsarik. It's very difficult to control the tongue in this world. You can control many things, but you cannot control the tongue. Krishna Bodhadayama, Koribara Swaprasadana, Senamrita Pao, Radha Krishna Gunagao, Preme Dakho Sri Chaitanya Nitai. So that's how we control the jiva. Uddava, we should not eat anything. The stomach. Controlling the senses, as Krishna is telling, that please regulate the senses. Regulating the senses means we should not eat anything. Eat only Krishna Prasadam. And even within Krishna Prasadam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed personally to Raghunath Das Goswami. He had a very, very brief instructions Raghunath Das Goswami directly he gave when he came to Jagannath Puri. It is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Antyalila, I think in chapter number 6, where he had actually given in charge of Raghunath Das Goswami to Sarup Damodar Goswami. But he said that I can give you some instructions if you like me to. See, Mahaprabhu is so kind and he is so humble. So he is saying very nicely, Gramya Katha na shunibe. One should not hear any prajalpa, any kind of nonsense talk that is not related to Krishna consciousness. That's called Gramya Katha. Gramya Katha na koribe. Gramya Varta na koribe. One should not speak anything material, if you really want to advance. Bhalo na khaibe, bhalo na peribe. One should not eat good eatables, especially one who is in the renounced order of life. Even offering Krishna, it should be a very simple offering. And bhalo na peribe, one should not wear opulent clothes. These are direct instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Uddava, even for the stomach, we should be very regulated, regulating the senses, waking up early in the morning, taking very little breakfast, taking a decent lunch, and in the night, no dinner, maybe just a glass of milk. And there are so many sannyasis who only just sustain themselves just on milk and little bit of fruits. This is an example that they said that I am not this body. Actually, when we eat too much, we are actually establishing that I am this body. It is the opposite of what we are trying to achieve. Body is saying, give me more rasgullas, give me more gulab jamuns, give me this, give me that. It's good. If it's prasadam, it will still do us benefit. But Mahaprabhu's instructions are very strict for those who are in the renounced order. If you are very serious about a preacher, especially here, Uddava is being trained how to become a good preacher by setting that example. And through purified intelligence, our intelligence will become purified. How? Is simply when we are chanting the holy names of the Lord. Everything just, bottom line is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Cheto Darpada Marjanam. Again, these are the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It purifies our consciousness. It purifies our intelligence. It purifies our senses. Cheto Darpada Marjanam. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. The chanting of the holy names of Krishna brings us a victory. Victory over this body. Victory over these senses. Victory over this material world. Victory over, again, puna puna janam, puna puna maranam. Again and again death, again and again birth, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth. Brings us victory over that. It even brings us victory over Krishna. When we chant the holy names and we are pure, like Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, Krishna dance and Krishna will dance according to their wish. The gopis say, Krishna dance. And Krishna dances. I will give you some butter. Please dance, Krishna. Krishna can be controlled by his pure devotees. Because they are constantly thinking of Krishna. Man mana, mad bhakto, mad yaji mam namaskura. This is the process. Always think of me. So, in this way, you will never fall again into the path of material existence. And once one does these things by regulated senses, and that is why Prabhupada gave us the 4 regulative principles. It is not that he got a dream. Some of us are being criticized in ISKCON as fanatics. Oh, what is there if we drink just a little tea or coffee? What is there if we drink, some substances? These are harmless. No, Prabhupada said no meat eating means no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. These are purely from Shastra as it is. The sloka is from Mahabharata. Striyam dutam panam shunam yatra dharma chaturvidha. Striyam, no illicit sex. Dutam, no gambling. Panam is no intoxication. Shunam means no meat eating. Yatra, these, adharma, they are against spirituality, against dharma. Chatur means these 4. Chaturvidha, these 4. So when all these things that Prabhupada has given to us are so perfect. Actually speaking, if we wake up every day for Mangal Arati, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada said that one who attends Mangal Arati and if you follow my instructions, you will not even fall sick. These are his words. Prabhupada used to mention that. Chant the prescribed number of minimum good rounds, attend Shrimad Bhagavatam class, your darshan, etc. Regulate your tongue with prasadam. Regulate your tongue by only talking Harikatha, preaching Harikatha. If you are a good preacher, you have nothing or no other business except talk Harikatha. That's all you know, and that's all you care to know. Amar agya taro ides jare kaho Krishna updesh. Mahaprabhu said that Jivan sartha kari karo upkar. Make your life perfect and then give this Krishna consciousness to others. Jare dekho tare kaho Krishna updesh. Always, every moment, speak about Krishna. Or Krishna updesh. Give the message of Krishna consciousness. This is the main crux of this shloka today. And there is another parallel shloka that I will just simply read the translation. The time is pretty much up, actually over time. In this verse, in the second canto, chapter 1, Sukadeva Goswami says, actually there's a question in the prior verse that Parikshit Maharaj is asking, that, O Brahmana, O Sukadeva Goswami, please describe in full detail how and where the mind has to be applied. So basically the question is, how can I fix my mind? And how the conception can be fixed so that the dirty things in a person's mind can be removed. Nice question. And Sukadeva Goswami is answering almost similar to this parallel, to this shloka. Sukadeva Goswami is saying, one should control the sitting posture. So when we even chanting the holy names, we should sit nicely, erect. Prabhupada, when he's chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, sit properly. Right? We hear that, right? Have we not? So sitting properly is actually, it's a yogic posture that actually helps you absorb the sound vibration better. So when we sit in the proper yogasana, or the padmasana it is called, when we sit with an erect back and when we chant the holy names, it helps us. All these yogic asanas have a particular reason. Ultimately, it helps us to concentrate into yoga. Yoga means to connect to the Supreme Lord. Regulate the breathing process by the yogic pranayam. So our pranayam means controlling the breathing, the inhaling and the exhaling. It is said one of the yogic principles is that the less air we take and the more we keep the air inside, we are able to, without exhaling, the more perfection we get, the more we can control our senses. So for example, just a crude example, not that I am trying to propagate this, but just to understand the pranayam process. Like normally a human being can, I don't know what the statistics is, but let's say when we are normally seated, we are taking certain number of breaths. So maybe say 50 or 60 breaths in 1 minute. In normal sitting posture, when we are relaxed. But a yogi, when he probably can do maybe 10 breaths in a minute, inhaling. He keeps it and then slowly exhales. And some of them are so perfect that they can probably in 1 minute, it can come down to a smaller number. And then some yogis like Dhruv Maharaj, they can even completely, once they inhale, they can keep that air and continue on that air. It's amazing. But that is called pranayam, controlling the breathing process. And for us, how is it possible? We are not in the business of becoming yogis as such. So our pranayam is controlled when we chant the holy name of Krishna, the Mahamantra, very nicely. You will feel it. Actually speaking, you will get more energy also. It has been observed. When you do pranayam, nowadays they show this on TV and other places, like you close one nostril and you breathe through one. Inhale, exhale. So that is one form of pranayam. Another form of pranayam is with both the nostrils. So when we do these breathing exercises, you feel a lot of energy because you get more oxygen to the brain. You feel less lethargic, you feel less lazy. These are the symptoms. So when we chant our rounds properly, in a very consistent way, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Unknowingly, we are automatically controlling our breathing. It is so consistent. And when we sit continuously for an hour and a half, chanting our 16 rounds, sitting in one place, good rounds, we will find, those who have experiences, that we have a much better day. We have a much better awareness. Our intelligence has also improved. Physically also we feel good. So our mind is not only controlled basically physically for better physiology, but also spiritually it helps us. So through purified intelligence, bring your rational faculties under control. In this way you will never again fall onto the path of material existence. And the same thing Krishna is saying here, that by the yogic pranayama and thus controlling the mind and senses, and with intelligence apply the mind to the gross potencies of the Lord, called the Virat Rupa. And then he's saying that, so this verse he says that, yes, so basically through the yogic process of pranayama, thus control the mind and senses. And the same thing here, Uddava is being told that regulate the senses through purified intelligence, bring your rational faculties under control. In this way, you will never again fall into the path of material existence. So bottom line is, if we take Krishna Prasadam, if we speak Harikatha, and if we chant the holy names, we are the topmost yogi. We actually attain even better than the topmost yogis. Panthastu koti satvatsar sarvamyo vayarothapi manaso munipungamanam soapi asti yat prapada simni achintya tattve govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. In the Satya Yuga, some of the yogis used to sit for thousands and thousands of years simply drilling their respiration. That's the words that Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhu uses in the translation or the purport of his Brahma Samhita. Drilling the respiration. Drilling the respiration means exercising the breathing. Pranayam. For thousands of years they are practicing. And then the perfection that they get, they simply get to see the light or the transcendental light that emanates from the toe nail of Krishna. So we are much better. Prabhupada has said in many places that if we chant our Mahamantra very nicely, and then it will give us Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Chaitanya, this Shri Krishna Sankirtana. Mahaprabhu himself has said that he has given us this guarantee that we will get the topmost benefit. He will bring us the topmost victory by chanting the holy names, by taking the prasadam, controlling the senses, the mind. Everything is possible simply by this process. Taking prasadam, speaking Harikatha, and chanting the holy names. And of course, when you're speaking Katha means it encompasses other factors, like you're associating with devotees. Chanting the holy names with Sankirtan, with the devotees. Not that you are going to do bhajan, nirjan bhajan, by doing bhajan by yourself. It's all a package. And when we do this, our life will be successful. We will actually be serving very soon the transcendental lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, the transcendental lotus feet of Sri Guru. Wherever we are situated, they will be never lost to us. They will always be with us. Swargeshu, Narkeshu, Apavargeshu. We will always be there. No matter where we are, even if we have to come back and let's say we go to the heavenly planets or we even go to the hellish planets, maybe our karma is so bad, but as long as we are able to remember the lotus feet of Guru and Krishna, then our life will be successful. Or we may go to Vaikuntha or Golok Vrindavan. Puna Janam we may have to take, it's okay. But our life will be successful if we follow this process. Sometimes we are not able to process this completely. Even a part of it we do, it will do us immense benefit. But the intelligence is to process. Mahajan again, follow the process nicely, follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. Mahajana jena gatha sapantaha, dharma sottattva nihitam guyam. Because all this is guhya. Vedas, Shrimad, Bhagavatam, it's not easily understandable. Guhya is so many secrets are there. These secrets are being revealed through the purports of His divine grace. Because Mahajan, they know the secrets and we have to follow in their footsteps. So thank you very much. All glories to Shri Prabhupada. If there are any questions or comments, I would like to take them. or any reflections? Yes, Prabhu.
I have two questions. First one is about Krishna's opulences.
I'm sorry?
The first question is about Krishna's opulences, like this chapter is listed.
Krishna's opulences, yes.
Yes. So someone asked this question recently, and I didn't really know how to answer. Was about like most of the examples are things that are easy to appreciate, like you mentioned Narada amongst demigods and Ruby amongst jewels, something which is truly impressive, so it's kind of easy to understand why that would be an example of the Lord's opulences. But at the same time, because He is the origin of everything, then there are many things in world and life which are by nature, they are not only unattractive, but they are like horrible and scary. And so, is it also appropriate, is there a means to see Krishna even amongst things that we normally would not be attracted to, like violence, lying, stealing, destroying the environment? I'm just, these are my examples, but to just somehow formulate what I think this person was thinking about. And
Yes, so we'll take the first question.
Yes.
Very nice question, very interesting question. So again, I'm just to make sure that I've understood your question, I will repeat. So basically what you're saying is, in this chapter, Krishna is describing his extraordinary materialistic opulences, and by concentrating our mind on these extraordinary material opulences, it is possible to think about Krishna. But your question is that sometimes we see all these material things. Is it necessary to see those things? Because then, like violence and other, like the rubies and the gems, etc., is that okay to see that? Is that what you're asking? Or can you rephrase your last part of the question?
Yes, can this be applied, the same principle, seeing like Krishna's opulences, or to try to see Krishna even amongst things in the material world which are by their very nature not attractive, like...
So your question is that can we see those things in the material opulences?
Yes, can we try to see Krishna?
Or should we avoid?
Yeah, which one? Like Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Sorry, Bhagavad Gita what?
I recall one example in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna mentions that he's gambling amongst...
he's the cheaters amongst gambling.
So that would be one example that indicates that it could be even applicable amongst things which are not dharmic by their nature.
Yes. So the question is whether we should avoid it or we should see Krishna in it.
Yes.
The answer to that, to the best of my ability and my realization, is based on our level of consciousness.
Okay.
So originally, if we are all neophytes, obviously we should avoid completely such things and follow the proper regulative principles that are there. Now, when we start developing our consciousness and we read about things like we read in the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, that I am the taste in the water, or I am cheaters amongst gambling. So when we see those things, like when we see somebody's gambling, or let's say we drink water every day, or we see somebody drinking water and then somebody says, I feel nice. So then at that time, we should be reminded of ourselves, of the words of Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, because we have already heard these things, or we can constantly keep reading these things so that we are reminded about Krishna's opulence. So wherever these examples are there, we can actually see the hand of Krishna behind it. So it's a good thing to see in it. Yes. But it does not mean that we should be a part of it. So if Krishna says that I am the cheaters amongst gambling, so that doesn't mean that, okay, let me go experience Krishna on the gambling table. But we should see it from far, that yes, see how he's cheating those people who are gambling? Eventually they're going to be cheated. Like even the Pandavas got cheated, who are his best friends. Krishna actually did a special mercy on them by setting that example for all of us. Eventually, you will lose, no matter what. The house always wins, as the saying goes. So the point is that Krishna says, I will cheat them. Because they are trying to make money through this easy means. It's not going to happen. Because that's cheating, right? We get cheated. Oh, we think, okay, you know what? Just by spending a few $100s in the casino, maybe we will become rich by getting $100,000. So we get cheated. We lose the money, and then that means what happens? We got cheated. So Krishna has cheated us in the form of gambling. So Krishna is also a form of death. Everything, Janmadi Yasya, everything emanates from Krishna. So even the bad things, apparently, they are a product of Krishna. So the thing is that, like for example, a prostitute is a bad thing. But a pure devotee is now talking about the level of consciousness, sees that even a prostitute is in the service of Krishna. How? That somebody needs to have their karma, somebody whose karma is bad enough, then that person's karma needs to be compensated or fulfilled, and that prostitute is acting as an instrument. Or for example, somebody, let's say, gets robbed on gunpoint, right? So that person deserves to be robbed. It is not that because of his past karma, he is supposed to lose that money, because maybe he did the same thing to somebody or he cheated somebody. But somebody has to act as an instrument to perform that act. So somebody who is a thief will be the instrument in committing that act of robbery. So Mahabhagavad sees that he is also somewhere or the other a part of Krishna's plan. But that doesn't mean that I will become a part of his plan by becoming a robber. So there is a difference now, the difference of consciousness. Because Krishna doesn't prefer that. Krishna says, Man mana mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskaru. You become my devotee, you offer obeisances to me. This is his desire. Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja. Krishna doesn't specify that you become my instrument in robbing the bank. Or he doesn't, but to Arjuna he specifies specifically that you become an instrument in killing these people. The killing is bad. And Arjuna didn't want to do it. But ultimately he did it out of bhakti yoga. Not out of jnana or karma yoga. He did it out of satisfaction, because he says, for satisfying Krishna, yad prasada tava achyuta, nashtamo smriti labda, yad prasada maya achyuta, gata sandeha smriti labda, karishye vachanam tavaha. Now my mind and everything has been re-established because of your instructions, Krishna, because of your mercy. You have given me this bhakti yoga. So now I am completely understood what you want. So now I am ready to kill. You want me to kill my guru Dronacharya? No problem. I will stand up and fight against Bhishma Dev. I will fight against my cousin Duryodhan. I will fight against all these people for your satisfaction, O Krishna. But that is very rare, and Krishna is giving direct instructions there. But to us, Krishna is giving very, very simple desires of his. Manmana mad bhakto mad yaji mam namaskuru. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja. So yes, our mind needs to be trained, and as we become more and more stronger in our Krishna consciousness, the word is consciousness, we should be able to see Krishna everywhere. If we see this pillar and we were chanting the holy name, just looking at the pillar, oh, see the faith of Prahlad. Oh, this is where my Lord Nrsimhadev came out of. Even this simple green pillar should remind us of Krishna. That is what I mean by our levels of consciousness.
Yes.
So I hope that answers your first question.
Yes. Thank you.
And what is your second question, Prabhu?
The second question is about, you mentioned that the yoga means connecting to the Supreme Lord. You remember, you said that the word yoga means means to connect.
Connect to the Supreme Lord, yes.
Yes.
Yoga means to connect to the Supreme Lord, yes.
Yes. So I don't want to contest that at all because I think it's obvious when you read Bhagavad Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam where it's leading to. But is there any instance in any sastra and where the word yoga is literally meant exactly in that way and in that sense? What I mean is that some sloka where exactly there's a word yoga and in that context it's meant in that way. Because what I think in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam's context is like when one is practicing yoga, then that's where it leads to. One will connect to the Supreme Lord. But so
I'm so sorry, Prabhu. I don't think I've understood your question.
yeah,
If you can rephrase it, please.
yes, I tried to make it short. Do you know of any sloka where the word yoga is used so that in that context, in that specific context, it is understood that it
What
means,
is that? What does the word that mean?
connecting to the Supreme Lord?
Everywhere where I've, as far as my memory goes, everywhere that I have read, Prabhupada make a commentary on the word yoga
Yes.
as connecting to the Supreme Lord.
Yes, that is clear. So I'm asking this question for another reason because sometimes I need to interact with people who are not at all familiar with Prabhupada's work and they don't automatically accept everything that Srila Prabhupada says. And for that reason I was wondering if there's any sloka verse where the word yoga is defined in that way, that yoga means to connect to the Supreme Lord.
Oh, I see. I think I get your question now. So where he specifically mentions, that's interesting. But the word yoga actually means to connect.
Yes.
The actual translation of the word.
Yes.
Now, I don't know what is more specific than that.
Yeah.
As far as it's pretty clear, like it's a word basically, and that's being translated into English. Yoga means to connect.
Yeah, it's a dictionary meaning.
So, and then the question must arise if you are preaching to others, which obviously I also sometimes meet people who are not familiar with our ISKCON or Krishna conscious society. So, in that kind of situation, I use the same translation. Yoga means to connect. And then I put a question. To connect to what?
Yes.
Do we connect to some kind of material things? Do you think that will give us happiness? Or do we connect to the mind? Do we connect to our intelligence? So then they will say, yes, connect to the mind, because that's all they can think of. That's a good idea. And then that slowly, then if it is connect to the mind, the process is, as you know, it's controlling the mind. That means there is something higher than mind. It can be preached in such a way. So higher than mind is intelligence. And that intelligence is only there until the real self is there. The moment the self leaves, there is no more intelligence. That means the self is more superior. And if there is a self, there is a superior self, which is Paramatma. So then now we are slowly taking that person from a mental to intellectual, intellectual to the platform of the soul, from the spirit soul to the Supreme Spirit. And then the Supreme Spirit as the localized aspect, then obviously at some point they will hopefully, when we give them the holy name and prasadam, they will be able to, and we give them our love. That's the most important thing. Preaching means loving. You have to be a good friend before you can actually give a message to them. Otherwise, nobody wants to listen to us. You can give the highest philosophy, but if our behavior and our attitude is not so friendly and not practical, then nobody will listen to the message. And once we gain their confidence, then we are actually, half the job of preaching is done. by becoming good friends of those people without compromising with our principles. That doesn't mean that being a friend means you want to preach to somebody and he says, you want to come with me to the club tonight and let's just get together and have a drink and we can talk. No, there are other ways. So I wanted to be a little specific. Being a friend means talking to them on terms that they can understand and then slowly bringing them slowly to the transcendental platform by offering prasadam, by offering the chants, just the vibration of the Mahamantra, introducing bhakti yoga, chanting. A lot of devotees do that. So it does good. It is always a challenge, and I do understand, I think what you're saying is how do you, because when we say connecting to Krishna, why would they believe us? Connect to Krishna. Yoga. Yoga means I feel it's for my peace. Great. So slowly. It doesn't happen overnight. Even for us, if we see from where we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, some of us 30 years ago, where were we? What was our consciousness then? And what is our consciousness now? It's evolutionary process. The evolution of the consciousness. Rupa Goswami also says that there's utsaha is needed, enthusiasm, but at the same time dhairya, patience. Yes, all devotees want Golok now. Yes, all devotees want to associate with Prabhupada now. Yes, all devotees want Radha Krishna now. But it's not such an easy piece of cake. Even to earn a few euros, you have to work hard. To earn maybe a couple hundred euros, some of them have to work a whole week. And then you get 200 euros in your bank. But to earn the most highest fortune, the process is there, but it's a process of patience along with enthusiasm. So there are ways, and the best thing is reading Prabhupada's Lilamrit, how Prabhupada dealt with different persons from different walks of life. He is the most expert in giving answers. We don't have to manufacture anything, actually speaking, as it is. He spoke to people who are atheists. He spoke to people who were Christians. He spoke to fathers. He spoke to the people from different cultures, different backgrounds. He spoke to Mayavadis, Nirvisesha, Shunyavadi, Paschatya Deshatarine. What more proof do we want? The Nirviseshas, the Buddhists, the Mayavadis, the Buddhists, and the Westerners, who are the hippies and that and this and the yoga hip for the peace. Hippies also wanted peace. All the people who are doing yoga these days in clubs, they also want some peace. So that is Paschatya Deshatarine, how he did it. And that is why the number one book that I personally, if somebody asks me, I recommend is Prabhupada Lilamrit, even before going into any other scripture, or side by side at least. Because that is Srila Prabhupada, the real person, how he lived his life day to day. The final lesson, even when he left his body, his devotees call that the final lesson. You seen that video? Prabhupada talked all the time, preached, you are not this body, try to understand. Please try to understand, you are not this body, you are a spirit soul. Remember Krishna at the time of death and you will go back home, back to Godhead. And Prabhupada practically showed that. So actually speaking, honestly, we don't have to manufacture any new ways. Everything is given how to deal with people. Prabhupada was the expert on that. There is nobody that I have come across who could deal with people as much perfectly as Prabhupada. Prabhupada was a perfectionist in everything that he did, including how to deal with people. And the living proof is all of us sitting in this room. And the thousands and thousands of devotees that he has made from all backgrounds. Right from that hippie to doctors and engineers and scientists. If he could not deal with a scientist, do you think scientists would become his disciples? No. If he could not deal with the hippies who are looking for peace through drugs and other means, you think he could have made them disciples? No. And he met so many who are already into this Yoganand Rishi and Mayavad and this what is that, Maharishi Yogananda, right? He had already met some of them, some of the disciples who actually, Radhanath Swami was one of them. He was into this meditation big time before he came to Prabhupada. So that is the best, according to my intelligence, Prabhu. I can recommend that we follow in his footsteps and we read how Prabhupada reacted. Especially, it's such a wonderful thought of preaching to everyone. And sometimes we fail because we cannot convince them. Sometimes we feel that they will not understand if we talk about Krishna, but not necessary. Sometimes it's very important to have that consciousness that I want to serve Srila Prabhupada, and Paramatma is in their hearts also. And he will make them understand if our intention is 100% pure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.